Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter at BoxingWave10. All right. Going to be a quick live for real today. It's going to be quick. I just want to discuss a little bit more on the Terrence Crawford, Brook fight tomorrow night on ESPN. And if you haven't seen already, make sure you check out my breakdown that I put out last night on the fight. And also, I'm going to be a guest later this afternoon. You know what? I'll talk more. I'm going to wait till a few more people to join in. Let's get a few more people in before I go there. But a lot of boxing tomorrow. The Zone has a full female boxing card. Well, the main event is going to be with Katie Taylor and Miriam Gutierrez. Sorry, I just waking up. So I'm just like, I just wanted to jump on YouTube real quick. But Miriam Gutierrez is going to be fighting Katie Taylor tomorrow on the Zone. All right. And I don't know the exact time. I was looking it up. Sometimes with these fights, I don't know why it's so difficult to just post what time it is. But yeah, they're going to be fighting tomorrow. So be sure to check that out. When I get the time, I will definitely make a post for you guys to know if you guys want to check out that fight tomorrow, that card. Also, Terrence Bud Crawford is going to be fighting Brook tomorrow on ESPN. I'm sure most people know about the fight, going to be tuning in. Not much promotion for the fight. Okay, not much promotion. But I think a lot of that has to do with the rumors of Terrence Bud Crawford leaving Top Rank. All right, I think that's what a lot of it is about. And it shows, someone asked me, I've been reading the comments since I made my post yesterday. And a lot of people are saying, they wish the fight was promoted better and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's because Bud is probably leaving. I think they should have done a better job promoting the fight, But, it's not a pay-per-view fight. It's not a huge fight. And I think they're just trying to cut down on the expenses because they probably know, Bob knows that Bud is leaving. If this is true, from what we heard, I was listening to Trill Boxing talk the other day. He was on live and he had Bomac, who is Terrence Crawford's trainer. He was basically saying that, Bud has about 90 days left on his contract with Top Rank. So if that's true, then Terrence Crawford is most likely to be leaving after this fight. This is going to be his last fight, and this is why Bob is not really pushing a fight like that. I mean, it's a good fight. I know a lot of people think that Brook is done, but I think it's a big fight. I think it's a big fight because I personally like Brook, and I don't think he's done. I don't think he's in his prime, but I wouldn't say that he's done. Just because he lost to Spence, and he received a lot of damage in that fight, and he did receive a lot of damage in the Triple G fight. That was a few years back. Didn't fight any world beaters since then, but I just wouldn't write him totally off yet. Now, depending on how he looks in this fight, the fight's starting by the first second or maybe a few rounds in, and he doesn't look as polished as he's used to, then fine. But I don't think there's enough proof yet to say that he's completely done. That's just how I feel. I just don't like completely writing guys off until I see there's proof of that. That's just the way I am. All right. Cano Local Sports, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it, brother. And make sure you follow his channel. All right, Wave, if they made a bad decision, would it be Bud getting robbed because he's leaving Bob Arum, just like how he did Pacquiao or Kell being robbed because Spence already beat Kell? Good question. I didn't even think about that. Chances of a robbery. it's not like we haven't seen it before. You know, I thought Pacquiao did beat what's this guy? He just said his name. What's this guy named Pacquiao that got robbed? Who did he fight? Jeff Horn. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that. I actually see this fight going to decision. I don't think Bud is going to stop Kell Brook. I don't think he's going to do it. Now, if he does it, I won't be surprised, but I think Kell Brook is a lot tougher than what you guys are saying, the majority. I mean, I did a poll this morning, late last night, I did a poll. I got already 500 votes, and the majority of the people in there has, I believe they have Bud winning by knockout. You know, I don't think a lot of people see Kell Brook standing much of a chance against Bud right now. I think it's going to go to decision. I think Brook is tougher than what most people give him credit for. And I think Bud is going to bring a different approach coming into this fight. I don't think Bud is going in there to just try to obliterate. I think he's going to fight a smart technical fight for the majority of the fight. I think at some point he's going to turn it up. But I think early, I think at least the first half of the fight, I think when Brook is at his very best and he's at his, you know, he's sharpest, I think he is going to fight a cautious fight. That's the way I see the fight going. All right, but chances of a robbery, that would really suck, man. But I don't see it happening because Kell Brook is not Bob's fighter. You know, if Brook was someone on the come up or someone he can make a big fight later down the line, like if you want to compare the Pacquiao and Horn situation, Horn was set up to fight Bud and make Bud look good. So win or lose, either if Pacquiao won or lost, you know, clearly at the end of the day, Horn was there to still fight Bud, which is what he did. You know, so I don't know. All right. But it's not, we have seen it before, but I don't think it's going to happen, man. But we'll see. All right. It would be crazy if Kell Brook knocked him out with a chocolate brownie. Oh, man. Yo, I think if Bud tries to take the fight straight to him early on, and try to trade at some points, I think there's a chance that Bud can get hurt and drop. You know, he's fighting like a big welterweight with punching power, with quick hands, great timing. I think he needs to be cautious in this fight. All right. Just my opinion. I don't think he needs to focus on doing it better than Errol Spence. He doesn't need to worry about that, you know, and especially if the rumors are true that he's going to leave Top Rank and go over to the PBC. I mean, I would think he's going over to PBC. I would hope he's going to the PBC. I hope he doesn't go to Zone. You know, I would like for him to go over there with Al Heyman and fight those guys. I don't think he needs to try to look better or do it better than Spence. I think he needs to win the fight, secure the win, look good doing it, and go over to PBC and fight these guys directly. We don't need no more same opponent comparisons. Like that's nonsense at this point. People don't really care, you know? D Hodges, what up, bro? Jay Rodriguez is a pretty big fight. Yeah, I think it is too. Punch Cole, what's up, man? Just think Crawford will figure it out within 1 or 2, within 2 rounds, and it will be downhill for him versus Crawford. Yeah, that's what most people are saying. Triple G was one of the hardest hitters at that time. How many times he been knocked down? Kell Brook has been knocked down that I know of against Triple G and Spence, pretty much. Bradley. I wanted to speak about Tim Bradley. Jarks, thank you for the like. Let me just read a few more comments because I wanted to speak on something. I think it would be a Stoll stoppage like Trout, Charlo. Brook is going to take a lot of damage in the second half. Yeah. I think Crawford's going to turn it up in the second half. I think he is. All right. I voted Bud for KO as well. I'm probably the minority, but I'm taking Brook for the win. Kano, you are the minority, but I don't know about how you have received views on this fight. But a lot of people are telling me in my comments they're taking Brook for the win. They're just unsure. There's a lot of people that's still unsure about Bud as a welterweight. They don't really fully believe in him yet. And if you rate highly, if you rate Kell Brook highly like I do, I'm not really mad at it. I'm really not. It's a fair thing. I'm even seeing channels that there's several channels that think Brook is going to win. I heard the Shield Serrano Hardy ladies card fell apart. It was stacked. Really? I didn't even know. I didn't know it fell apart. I did hear about the card that they were putting together, but I'll look into that after. I don't know, so I don't want to speak on it, but I'll look into it, and I could probably do it on a later live chat with you guys. We could speak on that maybe later on. By the way, it's a few of you here now. I'm going to be on Captain Crochet's. I got invited today as a guest on Captain Crochet. He's a French boxing channel, right, from Canada. All right, but he speaks English. I will be on there 12:30 p.m. Eastern today, so definitely check it out. I believe the link is in the description of this live chat. So be sure, Captain Crochet. I'm gonna be on there discussing boxing with him at 12:30 p.m. A couple of one of his fans reached out to me, and then he reached out to me, and we discussed, we talked a little bit. So I'm gonna be a guest today. So definitely check him out. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. I'll be on there discussing boxing on his show, So I don't know if you guys heard of him or, follow the channel, but pretty good channel. I did watch some of his stuff, and we're going to chat some boxing today. So be on the lookout for that. All right. So look, let's talk about this welterweight thing. Tim Bradley, I was looking at Bud and Ward, interview Terrence Crawford, and it made me think about the time when Top Rank had a loaded side of fighters, and when Keith and Porter and all these other guys that was on the PBC or with Al Heyman. It made me go back and think about how many fights we didn't get. And Tim Bradley really didn't fight a lot of people. As great of a boxer as he is, and a future Hall of Famer, Tim Bradley didn't fight a lot of these PBC guys. He didn't fight any of them, really. I wanted to see Tim Bradley fight guys like Kell Brook, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman wanted to fight him. Deuce, what up, man? Tim Bradley is one of those guys that I wish really fought other fighters in the PBC. And these Pacquiao went over there for a little bit. I mean, he did fight Broner. He did fight Thurman. But Tim Bradley retired early, retired young. And I'm kind of worried about Bud never getting an opportunity. Hopefully he goes over to PBC now. We can get the fight between him and Spence, or even some of the other guys like a Danny Garcia or a Keith Thurman. If Danny Garcia loses to Spence and Spence dominates him, obviously if Bud is to fight Danny at that point, people are going to be like, well, Danny's washed up. You know how that goes. But Tim Bradley is one of the examples of fighters that when you're not on the right side, it's really hard to gauge how a lot of these welterweights, how good they really are, because a lot of these guys really just never fought each other. And some of them don't even have common opponents like that, you know? And I'm hoping Bud, because I'm listening to Bud in these interviews, and he doesn't seem to be concerned about how people feel about him not fighting the top welterweights, you know? And it's, as a fan, that bothers me, because I want to see these fights. Like, I want him to really prove his greatness. And I know he's proven what he did, what, at 135 and 140. He's proven at those divisions, and he's even proven somewhat as a welterweight. I mean, he's a champion there, but he didn't fight the big names. And I hope he's not complacent to a point where he doesn't show any interest in fighting these guys. Like, if he doesn't sign with the PBC and he ends up going with the Zone, or he ends up re-signing with Top Rank again, you know, I think that would be a huge blow on his career in the future, you know, if he doesn't sign with Al and doesn't get in the ring with some of these guys. Now, if he signs with Al and these guys still avoid him, which is possible, because not everybody with the PBC actually fight each other. You know, a lot of guys on the PBC still will avoid each other, you know? So I just hope that Bud specifically goes over there and we can get some really good fights, really good fights. And I know people keep talking about Ugas. I like Ugas, but people bring up Ugas as if he's some like elite fighter over his son just because he had a close fight with Sean Porter. You know, I think Ugas was stylistically a nightmare for Sean Porter. And sometimes we just have fights like that. But Sean Porter is much more proven than Ugas. And people will bring up Ugas as if, yeah, Bud didn't even fight Ugas. Okay. Does Bud need to fight Ugas? Like, when did Ugas just become this, like, killer? You know? He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. He's a very good counter puncher. But I don't know where it came from. Like, at one point, it's just like he got in the ring with Sean Porter, and then everybody just made him like the superstar. Like, he's like some threat. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just another name people want to throw out there just because Bud is not a PBC guy, and they just want to use Ugas as another guy that Bud didn't face. Because whatever Bud end up doing, whoever he beats, it doesn't matter after he beats them. You know, but yeah, I was thinking about that in the welterweight division, you know, and hopefully we could get Bud over there. If he is to beat Kell Brook, hopefully we can get him over there to the PBC, and hopefully we can get some bigger fights with him, you know. I definitely want to see a lot, because there's so many fights that we didn't get in the welterweight division with all the names that we had. So many names, you know. The welterweight division has been loaded for a while now. It's been the most popular division for years now because of the fall of the heavyweight division here in America. I don't want to see the same to happen with this generation of guys, you know, and the next generation, the younger guys that's going to come up. All right. Let me read some of your comments here. Kell Brook is giving Crawford some chocolate brownies. Devin, I'm doing good. You know, I'm at my dad's. You know, I left the city for a couple days, and I'm up at my dad's, and I'm just chilling. He's not here, but you know, I'm just here, and, you know, just doing some videos, and it's just relaxing, you know, in the suburbs. All right. Bud should go to 140 and fight Taylor and Ramirez. I don't think he needs to go to 140. I think they're going to come up to him, you know, depending on who wins that fight. I think Taylor is done. If Taylor is to win, and I believe Taylor's going to win in that fight. I believe it. That's my pick. But I think Taylor is interested in going up, you know. Bud loses to Brook. Aram sets up Brook. Josh Taylor 2020. Possible. We'll see. Do I think Brook's eyes will hold up? Yeah, after, you know, what did they put, like a plate in his head after that? I can't remember, but you know, I'm not no medical expert or anything, but I believe that he has plates now in his eye sockets. I think his eyes are gonna hold up pretty well. I think he's gonna be all right. All right. He's gonna take damage, but I don't think it's gonna be as bad. The fractures are going to be like the way Triple G. I think Triple G really did the damage to him, and then I think when Spence fought him, he just put more on it, you know. But I think his eyes are going to hold up. Vidalage, what's up, man? So as far as the live commentary, I'm going to keep you guys posted. I'm not 100% sure. I do have something to do tomorrow night. But I'm going to try to cancel that and be on tomorrow. All right. So I will let you guys know. All right. I'm not going to go into details, but I will let you know tomorrow, and I will definitely post a link if, you know, I can definitely do the card tomorrow. I definitely want to, but I will let you guys know. What if Brook doesn't respect his power? Well, if he doesn't respect his power like that, Brook is the type of fighter that likes to pick his shots and box. You know, he's not like a destroyer. Yes, he can knock you out and he can pressure you a little bit, but he's defensively aware. It's not like he wants to keep getting punched. You get what I'm saying? And so is Crawford. Yeah, he's been bringing, yes, he's been working. I said that last night. He has to work a lot harder at welterweight to get his knockouts. But overall, he's still a boxer at the end of the day. He's not trying to get punched too much. He's not trying to get hit too much. And I think Brook is the same way. He's not trying to get hit too much, you know? So I don't see... Crawford has stopped some good fighters at welterweight. You might not think they're that good. A lot of people think Horn got, you know, Horn or Pacquiao was robbed by Horn. But if you compare Pacquiao's performance to Horn to Terrence Crawford, there's no comparison. Even if you think Pacquiao won, I believe Pacquiao won. I think it was a close fight, though. But I believe Pacquiao won the fight and almost stopped him in one of those rounds. With that being said, Bud's performance was a lot better against Horn. And Horn is a bigger guy. I mean, this guy's fighting bigger weights, or was. You know, I think he's retiring now. But I think Bud has proven that he can crack at welterweight. So I don't think there's no respect in his power at this point. You get what I'm saying? I think he's proven that he can punch at the division. You know, it's just that he has to bring the pressure to them really, really hard to do it. I don't think he has the biggest power, but I think he has respectable power as a welterweight, you know? I see it as a lose-lose for Bud. He wins, people will say Brook was over the hill. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is, though, man. That's how this sport... He'll get clowned if he loses. If he wins, no one's going to care. It's okay. You know, I mean, boxing fans, are they really ever satisfied? Are we really ever satisfied? You know, are we really ever satisfied in this sport? There's always more you can do. No matter what you do, there's always much more you can do. There's always an opponent out there that you didn't face. There's always an opponent out there that people are going to feel that you dumped. It is what it is. There's always an opponent out there that another fighter performed better against that you face, a common opponent you have. There's always something. What up, Wade? If the best Kell Brook shows up, it should be a stiff test for Bud. That said, Brook can't beat Bud on a card, so he'll have to take high risk. Well, we don't know if he can beat Bud on the cards. And I'm assuming this is going to be the best Brook that we can get at this current time. So this is what I said on my breakdown yesterday. I think this is the best Brook that we can get at this time. Again, he is very motivated. He looks in great shape. I believe in him. And I think I don't think he's gonna win, but I think this is gonna be a good fight. And I think he's gonna prove that he still belongs. His name should still be up there when we're talking welterweights. I just hope he keeps it up, win or lose, But a lot of people feel that this, if he loses this fight, he's probably gonna be done. No, we didn't need 3 Tim Bradley versus Pacquiao fights. We didn't need 3 of them. We didn't need 3 of them, but we know what that was about. Tim got the first fight. Tim didn't win the first fight. It was a close fight. It was very competitive, but he didn't win. And a lot of that made it 3 fights. I don't think we needed 4 Marquez fights with Pacquiao, but we got 4 and we got a crazy knockout. But look how the fights kept going. If anybody won a decision in any of those fights, in those 4 fights, Marquez definitely won the 3rd fight as far as on points. Marquez won that fight. All right. I think the first 2, whatever way you do, we know the judge made a mistake in one of the cards in that fight, scored it incorrectly. But yeah, by the 4th fight, by the time we had the 3rd and 4th fight, there were other welterweights out there that people wanted to see Pacquiao, Marquez, Tim Bradley face, Yesterday, they asked BFTB if Tim Bradley was a future Hall of Famer, and he said no, because duckers shouldn't be Hall of Famers. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. It is what it is. When you leave Top Rank, you don't leave with the belts. Ask Pacquiao. Yo, well, you guys are making me worry now, because this is not something that I was thinking of before I started this live chat. You started to bring up this robbery stuff, and I don't blame you. I can see where you're going with it now. Jay Rodriguez, thanks for the donation and super chat. Appreciate your content. Glad the fight is free with all these pay-per-views coming. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm glad it is free. I thought that Loma and Teofimo Lopez could have been a pay-per-view. They didn't make it one. All right. Yeah. God of War. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to comment on ridiculous posts I'm not. Come on, man. Tim Bradley's not a future Hall of Famer because he didn't fight who you wanted him to fight. I wanted him to fight a lot of people. All right. But there's a lot of fighters out there that's not, almost just about every fighter doesn't fight exactly who I wanted to fight. Pacquiao didn't fight people I didn't want to see, that I wanted to see him fight. Cotto didn't fight people I wanted to see him fight. Shane Mosley, and I'm thinking some of my favorite fighters. Every single one of them didn't fight someone that I wanted to see them fight at some point. And all of the current guys too. I want Spence to fight Crawford, but he's on the wrong side of the street. He said it himself. And I want Danny Garcia to fight him. Yeah, no. Even having Teofimo fight for free was a good way. No, absolutely. I agree with you, Chain. I agree. A lot of these fights should be free, especially for newer guys coming up. But what I'm saying is, as far as the matchup itself, for me, if they had made it a pay-per-view, I wouldn't objected towards it. I wouldn't have had any objections to it. It was just as far as the quality of the fight. But yeah, it was smart because Teofimo Lopez, everybody's talking about him now. Lucas outboxed the T-Rex arm, Sean Porter. Yeah, I mean, I thought that fight was a draw. I thought it was a draw. I don't think Sean won. I thought it was a draw. And that's why he gets criticized so much. Buzz seems content with low-level opposition. This is the honest truth, and this is how I feel about Bud. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? My auntie, she's always watching. All my family watch my videos, by the way. My mom, my dad, everybody, my sisters, cousins. I actually ate dinner for breakfast. Welsh. I ate like some pasta for breakfast. I just got up and warmed up some leftovers. I had some seafood pasta this morning. All right. Uh, so G, what's up, man? Thank you for subbing. I hope you enjoyed the channel. I'm pretty sure you would. When it comes to Bud, this is my honest opinion. I wish he didn't resign with Top Rank, because no matter what amount of money you're getting, you know, I don't want to discuss your money. I don't know what reasons you resign with them. I don't know if it's due to the amount of money. I don't know if you try to shop around and see what was offered in other areas. I don't know. But if you want to be great, like we all believe you want to be, the best opposition is over with the PBC in this division. And I feel the same with every other fighter, not just Bud, but that's my standard that I'm always going to stick with. When you sign, when you're campaigning at a division and all the best fighters is at the other side, all right, go with what would make it easier for you to make the fights. Now, boxing doesn't have to be this way. Like, fights should still be able to get made no matter which promoter you're with. But when you're in a welterweight division, not when you're in bantamweight, I'm not talking about flyweight, I'm not talking about bantamweight where fights get made wherever you are. When you're a welterweight and you're in the most popular division, as far as division is full of names, I'm not saying they have the best talent, I'm just saying the names, you have to go where the opposition and names are if you want to get that credibility from people. You know, you have to chase them. If you're a welterweight, if you're specific divisions, same thing with middleweight and Jamal Charlo. The Zone has fighters over there at 160. You know, the Zone, you know, at 168, yeah, you have other champions, Benavidez, you have Caleb Plant, but if you want names, you might have to move in order to get those fights. Triple G, Canelo, stuff like that. You got to go over to them because it's harder for them to avoid you when you're there. You know why? Because at that point, the network, it's not just the fighter. The network wants you to fight those fighters. This is why Canelo had so many issues with the Zone and Golden Boy over there, because the network itself, the streaming service, wants you to fight specific names. It's not just about what the fighters want. They're going to say, well, you know what? We're going to pay. You're on our platform. The two of you are on our platform. We're going to make this fight happen. We're going to push to make the fight happen. So if the fighter is ducking, even if ESPN and Top Rank wants that fight between Bud and Spence, even if they wanted it, or Thurman or Garcia or whoever it is, the PBC is like, nah, we don't want to deal with it. You know, because it's not beneficial really for our fighter. So I think in certain scenarios, in certain cases, in certain divisions, you have to be with a certain. Now, when you're not as popular, it would be easier to make a fight. Like at 175. At 175, let's be real, 175, the majority of those guys at 175 are not American boxers. Bivol, Better Biev, Vozdik, all those guys, those champions, Sergey Kovalev, they don't have to be on the same platform. You could be on the Zone. You could be on ESPN. But they're willing to make those fights. It's not that hard. But when you're an American popular division, it runs totally different. You know, it's just different. It sucks, but that's it's the truth. It's the cold, hard truth about it. I hate it. I don't like it. But Bud he shouldn't have re-signed with Top Rank at the time. Because when you are with the platform, they're going to push for the fights harder than the fighters. You know? I don't like what Spence said. I will never agree with that because the best is supposed to fight the best, and that guy holds a title. So if you want to be undisputed, you have to go through that guy too. Why are we fighting Danny Garcia again? And this is going to make me sound like a hater, but I really don't care. I like Danny Garcia. I think he's a good fighter. I like what he did specifically at 140. But a little truth about Danny Garcia. Danny's best win as a welterweight is against Robert Guerrero. His best win at welterweight is against Robert Guerrero. Like, people will bash Bud, who is a champion. But Danny Garcia's best win is against Robert Guerrero. I know he fought Porter. I know he fought Thurman. I know he's fighting Spence. But those guys were pushing to fight Danny. Thurman chased Danny. Porter chased Danny. Porter was acting like a WWE wrestler and making videos. When did Porter ever do that? When did they ever do that? You know why? Because they know Danny is fooled. He's a guy that's a good boxer, a respectable boxer with a big name, but they knew he was fooled. And this is why they were pushing to fight him. Why are they not that way towards Crawford? There's a reason. Because Danny was fooled. Danny's best win was against Robert Guerrero or Paulie Malignaggi, whatever way you want to put it. One of those two was his best welterweight win. But Crawford is not good enough. Danny did the same thing as Crawford, or he did less at 140. Danny did his thing at 140. Moved up. But as a welterweight, who did he really beat? But these same people will tell you that Danny is like, oh, come on. And it's gonna, I know how that's gonna sound, but yo, I just want people to be consistent, because there's guys at 140 that did the same thing at 140, moved up, and people are okay with Danny, but people are not okay with Bud, because it's all about who he's with. The hate on Bud is because he signed with Bob Arum and nothing more. That's what it's really about. He signed with the enemy, so we're going to hate on him. That's what it's about. 147 is hard for Danny. It's hard for Danny. But you know what? Danny is on a level as the elite. He's on that level. He's just a tad bit short. None of these guys dominated Danny before. Thurman didn't dominate him. I was at the fight. Same thing with Porter. He didn't dominate Danny. Danny belongs with the elite. Absolutely. But who did he beat? Like, when people say, who did Bud beat? Who did Danny beat? Danny, how many championship opportunities have Danny got already as a welterweight? He fought Paulie Malignaggi for a title, or no, Robert Guerrero. He fought Robert Guerrero for a title. He fought Thurman for a title. He fought Porter for a title. And now he's fighting Spence for unified. How many chances is this guy going to get? I mean, this guy got more title opportunities by the WBC specifically, and Dillian White couldn't get one. It's all politics. Like, it's all politics, man. I'm not a Danny hater. I like him, but I don't like when people place him way above Bud and who he's been facing as a welterweight. If we're talking wins, his best win is against Robert Guerrero. And when Danny moved up, they chased him. He was fooled. But when Bud was talking about coming up, they were like, well, let's see what he can do at 140. Let's see if he can win a belt. Let's see if he can do, he wasn't fooled. People were like, no, pay me to fight him. Look at everybody's behavior when it comes to certain fighters. You guys got to really pay attention to the behavior of, oh, shout out to Captain Crochet. He just, make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. We're going to be on, we're going to go live together at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on his channel to talk boxing. So make sure, be tuned for, I'm going to be a guest on his channel today. So make sure you guys look out for that. I was telling you guys earlier, but that's him right there. That's his channel, French boxing channel. Salute. What was I saying? You guys got to pay attention to the behavior of these boxers. When it comes to certain fighters, look at their behavior, look at their tune. You guys forget all the time when Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao. When he beat Manny Pacquiao, people was knocking on his door to fight. Jeff Horn included Danny Garcia. They were like, oh, we want that, because Jeff Horn became food. But when Jeff Horn got beat by Bud, nobody was chasing Bud's title. It suddenly became, oh, we don't deal with the WBO. We don't deal with that. Bud got to fight somebody else. He just beat Jeff Horn. So what? He got to fight somebody else. People are picky and choosy on who they want to face for a title. The WBO was cool until Bud got the title. All right? But Bud, this is the flip side of it. Like I was saying earlier, Bud has to do the best he could to put himself in a position to fight these guys. Oh, you guys are going to duck me? Okay, cool. Well, I'm signing on your team. Now I'm on your street. I'm on your block. What are you going to do now? I'm on your block. So what happens now? You guys can't run from me no more. You said you're Showtime. I'm Team Showtime. I'm Team PBC. Well, I'm here now. What are we going to do? You know? Yes, I agree with you. As far as term of level, there is more quality in the Bud Brook matchup than an Errol and Danny. Brook beat Porter. Brook beat Porter, by the way. And he beat him. He beat him, clearly. It was a competitive fight, but he beat him. What would Brook do if Brook, you guys say Brook is washed up. If Brook fought Robert Guerrero, what would happen? If Brook fought Brandon Rios, what would happen? If Brook fought Ivan Redcash, what would happen? If Brook fought Adrian Granados, what would happen? If Brook fought Paulie Malignaggi, what would happen? People that say Brook is washed up. If Brook fought the same people Danny Garcia fought, would you guys say he's washed up? Come on. Keep the same. Stop having these different standards for different fighters. He would have destroyed Robert Guerrero. Brandon Rios, like recently too, like he fought Brandon Rios like not too long ago. He would have smashed Brandon Rios. So let's hold off on he's washed up. He's washed up. I mean, he might be washed up against Bud, but if Brook was to fight these same fighters, come on, y'all. Even now, I'm not even talking about when he was undefeated. I'm talking about right now. Danny can win against anyone in between his losses, and they'll give him another title shot. Just like that. Brook versus Crawford is going to be a close fight. It might be. I think it's going to be competitive, especially in the earlier rounds. You know, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's talk more about that fight, though. The problem is too, you guys got to also consider, as far as Brook being washed up or anything like stuff like that. Brook did take a lot of battle damage, and also we know that he was stabbed outside of the ring one point in the leg, and he used to blow up in between fights. I think what makes Bud such a great fighter is the fact that he's responsible and he doesn't blow up in between fights. He's always battle ready. He's always battle ready. He doesn't do too much talking. He's not on social media too much. He's not doing too much, but he stays fit for his fights. He's always working. And I think that's what's always going to put him above other fighters like a Kell Brook. That's another boss. I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, most people are saying what? But his IQ is just greater. He's just a better talent. He's more versatile. They say all of that stuff, but even though Kell Brook is in great, fantastic shape, which is great, I don't think he ever worked as hard as Terrence Bud Crawford consistently. Like Terrence Crawford is one of the hardest workers out there, and I respect guys that always stay fit even outside of the ring. They don't have to work too hard to shake off weight or anything like that. No, he stays in shape. I say this about Sean Porter. He's one of the best, hardest working fighters out there. Because Sean Porter is naturally a heavier guy, but he's worked on keeping himself down at welterweight. Even when Broner tried to drain him, you guys remember when Broner tried to drain Sean Porter, make him come down to like 143 or something? We knew that was bullshit. We know that was bullshit. We know what they were trying to do there. But Porter was able to make the weight because Porter is dedicated to his fitness. And that's what makes him an elite welterweight, not his skill set. It's the fact that his fitness and his work rate is what keeps him there. Brook beat Porter. Outside of that, that's it. Well, Brook beat Porter better than everybody else that beat Porter. Danny doesn't have a big win at 147, but Danny's name will always be there. You know why? Because the other PBC guys got wins over him. That's why. And because Spence is fighting him now. So people that are PBC biased, they're gonna hype up any PBC fighter no matter what they do. Robert, thank you for the donation, brother. Do we know why Brook trainer not with him this fight? Well, from what I heard, Dominic Angle is not going to be traveling anywhere because of the pandemic and stuff, and plus he has other fighters. This is from what I've heard on why he's not on Brook's side. From what I'm hearing, he doesn't want to travel because of the COVID stuff and because of he has all the fighters in his stable that he has to, take care of. So that's what I'm hearing. I don't think they didn't have a falling out or anything like that. They still communicate. There's no falling out or anything. This is what I heard Brook say this. Tim Bradley said that, Devin? Bradley said Crawford would embarrass prime Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I mean, that's Tim. I like Tim Bradley, though, but Tim Bradley's one of those fighters that say something that's completely off the wall every once in a while. So I'm not surprised Tim said that. But Tim really loves Bud, and they are personal friends, too, so he's going to be biased. But again, focus, exactly. Marketing. What do I always say, guys? Marketing. This fight is the best fight in the world. Marketing. It's all about marketing. Always. It's marketing. Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Bud, and I would love to see a fight Floyd Mayweather. I mean, that is like a dream fight to me because to me, Bud is the best fighter I've seen since Floyd retired, and I've been saying this for years now. You know, even when everybody was saying Lomachenko was the best in the world, I said, well, pound for pound, I just would prefer Bud if they were to actually be in the same division, fighting each other the same size. I would pick Bud to beat him. If they both were 135 fighters around the same size, I would pick Bud to win because I think Bud can adjust to whatever way. He can take his weaknesses, his opponent's strengths, and make them weaknesses. And Lomachenko is a great fighter. He's a great athlete. I mean, he's phenomenal. But I would pick Bud to beat him. I think Bud would be able to adjust to his style and beat him. You know, if these guys were the same, you know, weight. But that's just my opinion. So I would love that. I would have loved to see a Mayweather fight. I would have loved to see it. You know, because Floyd is great at adjusting and beating you at your own game. But I still think Floyd was better. I think Floyd was better than Bud. I like Bud a lot. He could switch stances. I mean, he's very versatile and everything, but I think Floyd in his defense ability was just a different. It would have been an incredible fight. They're both special fighters, but Floyd was extremely special. You know, and Bud, as great as I think he is, I'm not sure if Bud can beat a prime welterweight Floyd or a prime welterweight Manny Pacquiao. You know, because prime welterweight Manny Pacquiao was a beast. I really wish him and Floyd fought years ago, you know, when Manny was, you know, doing his thing at welterweight when he first moved up. I wish they had fought each other back in like, you know, 2012, 2010, 2012, you know, whenever those years back then. When Floyd was just Money May, but a younger Money May, you know, and when Pacquiao was just coming up and beating guys like Ricky Hatton and stuff like that. That would have been great. But we missed it. And you know what? We're hopefully we don't miss another fight with Bud and Spence. Because a lot of people feel that Spence is going to move up to 154 once the Bud fight is there. Bud goes over there. A lot of people feel that Spence is going to move up to 154 and not even fight Bud. You know? Well, we'll see. We'll see. Prime Pac-Man would KO Bud. I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. I don't know if Bud would beat him, but I think Pac-Man, you know, if you give him all of his speed, all of his power, his volume that he had, you know, he as fast and as good as he still is, you know, against Keith Thurman, he don't have the volume. He doesn't have the killer instinct that he had. I think him at his very, very, very best days, I think he was almost impossible to beat, you know. I think Floyd was the only one that might have beaten him back at that time. The only one, you know, because at least I think Floyd is great at neutralizing fighters. But if Floyd, you know, fought Pacquiao at a better time and Pacquiao fought Floyd at a better time, I don't know where that fight would have went. What do I think about Dana White getting into boxing? I don't really think anything because I don't think guys like Dana White, like when people get into boxing, they don't understand that boxing is already set up a certain way. You can't do what the way that you run the UFC can't be done in boxing because the UFC is one organization. The UFC is like what the PBC is trying to do. They want to keep everything in-house. You get what I'm saying? Now, the UFC is the biggest MMA platform, obviously, but there's many other platforms out there. You know, you have Bellator out there, which is a lot of people feel like people leave the UFC to take the step down to Bellator. You know, when they're no longer, you know, the high-level fighter at a UFC, they're going to go over to Bellator at some point, which is good at sometimes, you know. Some guys move from Bellator and go to UFC. But what I'm saying is If Dana White comes over, so what? It was like when Rock Nation joined or when 50 Cent joined, and other guys are going to try to get in. And I know Dana White has experience in running fights, but they don't, the UFC doesn't have sanctioning bodies. Okay. They don't have sanctioning bodies. They don't have all of this other stuff, multiple belts in different divisions. Dana White doesn't understand that if he gets involved with boxing, it's not going to change anything because boxing is already set up a certain way. You know? Bud versus Zab would have been a good fight. I think Bud would beat Zab, but I think Zab is, I love Zab. But you know, Zab is going to take his losses. Is that Zab before the pressure starts is very hard to beat. I mean, Zab in his prime, very quick, very powerful, very sharp, but you can get to him. Floyd did it, struggled early, but he did it. Cotto struggled early, but he did it. And there's other fighters out there. Cloudy, there's a lot of fighters that's going to put the pressure on Zab and break him down. You know, I think all these guys from the outside coming in, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, we know you're the head honcho over there at the UFC. Yes, we know that. But as in a boxing game, no, it doesn't run like the UFC. Totally different sport. The politics in boxing is not going to allow someone new to come in and just take over the sport. Doesn't work that way. You know, even the World Boxing Super Series, look at that. Great tournament. Great tournament. It's a great tournament, but even they had a hard time staying afloat and staying, you know, paying their fighters. And there was troubles there. There was guys pulling out of fights because they weren't getting paid. They weren't generating enough money. And it's a great platform to have, but they weren't generating the money. You know? Now, if Dana White comes in, he's going to have to find a way to really pull money and you know, I love the tournament like idea because it makes the fighters really want to get in the ring. But people like Heyman, like Arum, like these promoters, they're going to want their fighters to stick with them because they want to generate as much money for themselves. The sport is just too selfish. For people, it's just too selfish for outsiders. You know? Tommy Hearns versus Crawford with brass knuckles. Nah, man. Country, thank you, man. Appreciate it, brother. But look, I'm not going to stay on long. As far as the Katie Taylor fight, I looked up Gutierrez. I was watching. She doesn't have many fights on YouTube, but I was watching some of her stuff this morning when I woke up. Not a fighter that I expect Katie Taylor to have too much of a hard time with. You know, you beat Delphine Persoon, especially in a rematch. I think she won the rematch. I think she did better in the rematch than she did in the first fight. I think the first fight was very questionable. But I don't see Taylor. I mean, I'm not a female boxing expert, but to beat Katie Taylor, you would have to really either bring the pressure to her and outwork her completely, which is what Delphine Persoon tried to do. And I think she's good at fighting that way. Or you gotta have to simply outbox her. And I haven't seen a boxer that I can say, a female boxer that I can say can outbox her in those divisions. I haven't seen it. And I can't see a fighter pressure her any more than Delphine Persoon did. Gutierrez doesn't really bring neither from what I've seen. I think she's a solid boxer, but she can't outbox Katie Taylor. I see Katie Taylor beating her without too much of a struggle. I'm glad that Taylor is being active here and fighting just a couple months after she beat Persoon. You know, you're fighting twice since boxing came back. You know, Serrano can bring better pressure, more disciplined pressure. Yeah. Serrano, I've seen Serrano fight. I can see her bringing a better fight. Is Serrano in the same division as Katie Taylor? Let me know. Are they in the same division? Okay. All right. Thank you, Kano. I don't see this girl Gutierrez though really bringing, being that girl uh, to beat Katie Taylor. But I do like the fact that she's being active and she's fighting twice after the pandemic, after boxing came out. Just to have 2 fights this year is great, and I think they were supposed to fight, but the money wasn't right. Let's hope they can work it out in the future. Okay. Yeah. I did see that. I did listen to a video on Boxing Ring IQ. I was listening to him video. I think he was talking about that. He was talking about that. Yeah, you're right. But yo, yeah, that fight on the zone is tomorrow. I just don't know the time off the top of my head what time that card is going to be on. But guys, definitely we'll let you know as far as me doing live commentary tomorrow for the Brook and Crawford fight. So be on the lookout for that. If I'm on, I will definitely post a notification for you guys to check me out. I do know that 7 p.m. Eastern is when the ESPN Plus preliminary fights start. So we are going to see the fight. If I am going to do commentary tomorrow, I will be on to do the pre-fights like I normally do, straight into the main event fight, which will be 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, on actual ESPN. So I will be on. But yeah, no, I have to go. My Manuel, sorry, man. I have to go because I have a couple of things to get done. I will be back. I will be on Captain Crochet's channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 2.5 hours away. And I'm going to discuss boxing with him on his channel, on his platform. He's a French boxing channel. So make sure you guys check his stuff out and subscribe to him and look out for me on his platform. But yeah, go back. We spoke mainly welterweight, Crawford, Brooks talk today. I've been reading the comments. You guys left a lot of good comments for my videos. Make sure you guys check out the breakdown that I did last night. And I have more videos coming up later today as well. All right, so be on the lookout. I have more things to discuss. I actually had more to talk about on this, and we went so long into talking about Brook. All right, I'm gonna give you guys like another 20 minutes. I'm gonna give you guys like another. We'll talk maybe another 15, 20 minutes. I wanted to speak on this whole Canelo thing because I haven't updated my views on Canelo and the whole Caleb Plant and situation. I didn't speak on that. The last video I did about Canelo, I was basically just talking about him being cleared with Golden Boy. He's done with Golden Boy. And I didn't really address the whole Plant situation much. All right. So a lot of us thought that he was going to fight Caleb Plant. A lot of us thought that. And a lot of us was excited for that. He's going to go to PBC. He's going to fight Plant, especially the PBC guys, the hardcore PBC heads. They were very excited. And by the way, I'm a boxing fan. I'm not a fan of any network or whatever. I'm a boxing fan. I don't really care about the platforms like that. Just fight. I care about the fighters. But I like the fight. But now it seems like he's going to be fighting Callum Smith in December instead. And probably on the zone. And this is one of the things that I was saying. Yes, he has it seems like everything is cleared up. And I don't think they're going to have the lawsuit anymore. I don't know what's up with Canelo. But what I did say about Canelo is that Canelo should be at a point. He's big enough at this point to be his own guy and promote himself. He doesn't need to really, fight a short-term, have a short-term contract with certain networks or with other, promoters or whatever, but don't do anything long term. Do it from a fight to fight basis. Your name is big enough to where people are going to always want you to fight on their platform at the end of the day. You don't need to have any long term contracts with anybody, because Canelo's the type of guy that wants to fight who he wants to fight anyway. Let's be real about it. He's a great fighter, but Canelo likes to pick who he wants to fight. At the end of the day, it's up to him. He doesn't like to be controlled. You're not going to tell me who to fight. And I think that was the whole issue with DAZN before. DAZN threw out all that money, but DAZN wanted, from what we read in the reports, DAZN wanted Canelo to face certain names. And that was an issue. Lionel Thompson made easy work of Uzcategui, who had Plant on shaky legs. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people forget that Plant struggled in the end of that fight. Plant looked great in the first half of that fight and dropped him. But Plant struggled the last 4 or 5 rounds. And people tend to forget that. And I say that, that because people think that Plant is going to be Canelo. And that's cool. That makes for a great fight. For me to hear that people think Plant is going to win, he's too defensive, he's too slick, he's too fast. I like that. I like that talk. But, Canelo's a great at adjustment to whoever he's facing. And once he start walking Plant down and attacking his body, all right, what is Plant going to do? And this is why I say I think Canelo will win the fight. You know what I'm saying? Canelo is waiting for Triple G to turn 50 years old. No, he's not. He's fought Triple G twice already. He's not waiting for Triple G to turn 50. He doesn't want to fight Triple G. He's been very clear on saying that. Now, when it comes to Plant, I would prefer the Plant fight over Callum Smith. Now, Callum Smith had better win. I mean, he knocked out George Groves. He won the World Boxing Super Series tournament. So as far as the champions, the current champions at 168, the current other top guys at 168, you got Billy Joe Saunders, you got Caleb Plant, you have Benavidez, even though he got stripped. I think Smith probably has the best win at 168. As far as 168, I think Billy Joe Saunders, as far as his resume, probably got the best resume as far as what he did at 160. But at 168, he hasn't done anything. But at 168, I would say Callum Smith. But John Ryder, just think of Canelo and compare Canelo to John Ryder. And so we saw what John Ryder was able to do against Smith. Canelo is like John Ryder on steroids. You get what I'm saying? Not literally on steroids, but I mean, just imagine what John Ryder was doing in that fight and put Canelo in place of him. I think Canelo beats Callum Smith easy, actually. I think Saunders and Plant would have been a more interesting fight to me. I think is a bad matchup for Callum Smith. Callum Smith is big, he's tall, but Canelo is going to get to him. And Canelo, I was just watching a video of him sparring with Frank Sanchez, a heavyweight. Frank Sanchez is a big, very athletic heavyweight. And Canelo's in there fighting with him. I don't like the Berlanga. I think Berlanga we need to see more with him yet. Still, I like him, but I think it's too soon for him to be, his name to be in the mix with elite fighters. Just my opinion. I really like him. And, I'm New York biased, but I know he got 15 knockouts. But Not yet. I want to see him face some better fighters, and I want to see if he can box for more rounds than just one round. It's too early. It's too soon. It's too soon, guys. It's too soon. He looks great. Oh, I think he's going to beat the hell out of Chavez Jr. You know, I seen his post. I see his post on Instagram about that. He's going to beat the hell out of Chavez Jr. But Chavez Jr. is trash. Let's be real. He's garbage at this point. He's garbage. He's not an elite fighter. I have to disagree. Ryder doesn't fight like Canelo. He kind of fights like Sean or Deverenchenko. Canelo fights more like Danny Garcia. He can circle the ring, but he gets tired doing that. I don't think Canelo fights like Danny Garcia. And what I was trying to say about Canelo is that Canelo doesn't fight like any of these guys. Like, I think what I was trying to say is, I think you might have misunderstood me there. What I was trying to say is what John Ryder was doing to have success in the Callum Smith fight, Canelo could do that very same thing, but better. That's the point I was trying to make. He can do that very same thing and better. He's going to close the range between him and Callum, and he's going to attack Callum close range. That's what I meant. He's going to slip Callum's punches and attack him and counter him at close range, mid-range, close range, you know? What's up, Blood? What's going on? Long time. Retro Boxing. Check out Retro Boxing's channels. He just actually did a great documentary on Salvador Sanchez. It was like 3 hours long. Make sure he's doing like strictly documentaries at this point. So go and check that out. If you want to look at old school historic stuff, check out Retro Boxing's channel. Did a great documentary a couple weeks back. I did check it out. All right. Yeah, but that's the point I was trying to make. You know, I was just trying to say that Canelo doesn't fight like Danny Garcia. You know, and he doesn't just always move around the ring. It really depends. It really depends on who he's facing. You know, it really depends on that. It doesn't, you know, he adjusts. He can fight the outside fight and move and you know, but he doesn't always fight that way. Yeah, I think Canelo beats Plant, and I think Canelo beats Smith, and I think he could beat all these guys at 168. Berlanga, I don't want to go there yet. I don't want to go there yet, you know? I don't want to really go there with him. It's too green. I haven't seen him fight and have any rounds yet, you know? And I know the knockouts is cool. It's great to have 15 fights, 1 round knockouts. Okay. What happens when you can't knock the guy out, though? What happens when, you know, does he have endurance? You know, can he really box and outpoint a fighter? Can he adjust? I don't know about Berlanga. I don't believe any of us know yet. You know, we just like him because we like what he's seeing. And then his celebrity is growing. His celebrity is huge. It's huge, but I don't know what he can do when he fights an elite fighter and he has to be forced to box for a certain number of rounds. I just want to see it, you know, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he can't do it. I just want to see it. That's all. And I'm looking forward to seeing it and when it happens, because I believe in him and you know, I want him to do it, but I don't want to throw him in there like, well, if he fights Canelo. Well, I don't know yet. I don't know yet, you know? All right, but yeah, me personally, when it comes to the whole Canelo situation, me personally, I like the Plant fight over Smith. I would have preferred that fight over Smith. You know, I would have preferred that fight. I've already given my opinion on, you know, what I feel about Canelo. I always say Canelo, if he was to fight at 160 right now, I would love to see him fight Charlo and Andrade. You know, if he fights at 168, if you fight at 168, any of the other champions, I like the Benavidez fight too. You know, any of those champions is fine, but I prefer Plant or Saunders over Benavidez and Smith. All right. I think this. I just want to see a good. I like to see Canelo fight other good counter punchers, really slick fighters. Like I just prefer that against guys that's going to try to use their size, you know, or power to win against Canelo. I don't think that's going to be enough. That's why I prefer Saunders or Plant over the other two. That's just my preference. All right. And at 168, of course, I would love to see him against Bivol or Better BF. You know, either one of those fights are good. You know, I don't think we're going to get those fights at 175, but those fights are good. You know, I mean, listen, if they told me when it comes at 175, if they told me Canelo was fighting Joe Smith Jr., I wouldn't care because I like Joe Smith Jr. Like, you know, he's just like a bigger guy and he's aggressive and he can punch. So I wouldn't even be mad at that, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's certain fights that I like. I think the matchup itself, as far as the styles, are just good. You know, are just good. I think that's how I look at it, man. I don't really care about platforms too much. A lot of people care. They put too much of their boxing views on what network they're facing on, you know, fighting, and you know what race of the fighter is and stuff like that. I just want to see the good fight. Like I don't care about all that stuff. I just like this is how I view you as a boxer, and I want to see this specific boxer fight this other boxer. You know, and that's it. I think it's that simple with me. All right. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here for real, guys. It's always a pleasure to talk boxing. I might come back on later here. You know, you guys know I'm going to be on Captain Crochet's channel in 2 hours, so you guys can check out his stuff. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button before you guys leave. Only got 50 likes so far, and I know people have been coming out. Before I check out, just hit that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Always. And if you guys want to chat with me directly, you can always hit me up on Instagram. You know, a lot of people send me private messages now. A lot of people are doing that on Instagram. You can always just hit me up on Instagram and send me a direct message privately if you want to just chat. I do reply to the messages. Also, you guys can always hit me up on Twitter, where I can just directly go back and forth and chat with you guys on there. Some of the fans have been hitting me up on Twitter. I know everybody's not on Twitter, but Twitter or Instagram at BoxingWave 10, you can just hit me up on there and we can just chat. If you want to just have more to going back and forth and stuff, that's cool. I'm on all of those. So, you know, I'm not on Facebook, unfortunately, though. All right. So anyway, I will be back on later. I'm probably going to talk more. There's still some more things I want to discuss. So I might be back on later, and I'll let you guys know if I do the live commentary for tomorrow for Brook and Crawford. All right. So I'm out of here, man. Peace.